It's a whole. I honestly, it's weirdly adorable for being about a butt plug. Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that is so happy to see you, you gorgeous thing. How are you? Oh my God. Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm well. As you definitely know, and the listeners can probably tell, I am recovering from a bout of bronchitis, which I had on my vacation. So super fun.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I am doing really well. I saw a movie today, which I will talk about later in the episode. I've been on vacation for a week. Luckily, my superpower is that I rarely get sick to the point where apparently bronchitis to me, I think I'm going to die. Mm-hmm. But I still was like going for bike rides and runs and playing in the lake with kids and everything. Yeah. So I've always been comically healthy, so I'm very grateful for that. But this shit's for the birds. So I'm very glad that this is on its way out. I'm on steroids now, so that's really cool. I'm more hungry than usual, which is something. But yeah, and I get to do another episode of this podcast with you, which I absolutely love. How are you?
I am quite well, thank you very much. I'm blanking on things to report on, but I'm good. We went on vacation this week. We had a great time.
Yeah, no, it was a great week, and it's going to be a great couple of weeks. Like, we've got so much stuff happening.
Yes, yeah, we do have a ton of stuff that's coming up
in like the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Culminating in something that I think you're going to talk about. You've already talked about it on TikTok, but I think you're going to talk about later in the episode.
Yeah, I am going to talk about it later, but it's going to be a really fun couple of weeks. We got a lot of stuff to do. We've got family and friends and the plans, etc. But for now, we're here to talk about a book.
Yeah, which we last week's episode, where we covered Mustang's Torment with special guest host Ivy M. Young. Mm-hmm. You did mention that you were going to do The Spellbound King by J.A. Keaton for the Summer of Friendship. Mm-hmm. But that was a bit of, I would say, an overreach on your part, because you were like, I'm going to read a physical book on vacation on the beach, like our ancestors did. Mm-hmm. But that's just not the case when every child there, we had 3 teenagers.
Yep.
And then they were all like 9 and under.
Yes.
And the teenagers, they're self-sufficient.
Oh yeah. Yeah, self-sufficient, sweet, wonderful kids.
Yeah,
but
also not ours.
Yeah, not our problem. But like there were a lot of kids there, and like not to like give away the itinerary too much or anything. But you didn't come up until Monday. I went up on Friday, so right. I did spend 3 days there with the kids without you, or 3.5-ish, without you, and that's fine. But one less parent to assist in in the day-to-day efforts. I didn't have time to read a book on the beach. I wish I did. Yeah. I wanted to read this book. I wanted to read the Spellbroken King.
Spellbroken King.
By J.A. Keaton, and I will, but not today.
No. So it will get covered on the podcast at some point. But we have pivoted, and from what I understand, the pivot still meets the guidelines for the Summer of Friendship.
Oh yes, absolutely it does. Absolutely. And so without further ado, I am here to give you the story of Love Laugh Lich by Kate Pryor.
Oh, finally.
Finally, yes.
I am so excited for this.
I'm so excited you're about to die.
I am about to die, but yes, I am very excited to hear this because A, the title is fantastic. B, Kate Pryor is a friend IRL of us. So I will stop rambling and talking because I don't sound like myself, and it's weird, especially in the headphones. So
okay.
I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so this book is Love Laugh Lich by Kate Pryor. It is book 1 of 3 of the Claws and Cubicles series. It's available for $2.99 or through Kindle Unlimited, or $4.99 for an Amazon paperback. This is a novella. It's like 85 pages long or something. The other 2 books in the series are full-length novels. They are The Orc from The Office and The Gargoyle from Accounting, I think. It's a great names. But anyway, so this one, first of all, in my notes, shout out to Kate Pryor, who is a friend of the show and who also introduced me to another IRL friend that I now have, author Marty V, whose books I will also eventually cover on this show, but she writes about humans, and we don't cover humans that often, so we'll get there. This book is the book that introduced me to the monster fucker genre, I think. I found it when I started reading again after the baby was born, but before the book slump.
Before our second or before our first?
After our second was born.
Oh, okay.
When I was reading a bunch because I was like night feeding at 9 p.m. and like I was sitting in a dark room with a baby on my boob. This book was recommended to me by Amazon, and I will, if nothing else, thank Jeff Bezos for giving me the algorithm that eventually brought this book to me.
Because that is a formative moment, because I feel like you could shoot an arrow from you reading that book to the genesis of this podcast.
Yes.
And draw a straight line.
This book was on the original list of books I wanted to cover when I first thought of this podcast 3 years ago.
Yeah. No,
yep.
I remember that vividly.
Mm-hmm.
That was because that was one of the books you brought up, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it sounds hilarious.
Yes. It's so good. So I had, like, when I found this book, I had just started reading Omega Verses.
Yeah.
So I had gone from Why Chooses to Omega Verses, and so the algorithm was like, oh, you maybe like weird stuff? Here, what about this one? And initially I was like, I don't know, because the cover, which I did put in my notes, I found slightly intimidating. But she got me with the cover blurb, which is, these sex magic rituals aren't OSHA compliant. Which is so funny that I had to read this book, and it was totally worth it. This book is hilarious. These books are super funny. Also, Kate designs her own covers, and it's a great cover. Good job.
As somebody who, in a former era in my life, I was a safety and compliance manager. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of, in this series, there is a lot of attention paid to HR,
mm-hmm.
to the red tape, to the bureaucracy, to OSHA. I appreciate it.
It is one of my favorite tropes. It's why one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Archer.
Mm-hmm.
When you can filter something through the mundanity of, the mundane nature of like office life,
mm-hmm.
that is one of my favorite things. Like it was a very short-lived TV show. It was set in the DC universe about like an insurance company that deals with all the shit, like all the damage caused by superheroes. That's funny to me. That's interesting. Or, like a bar for superheroes. Like anything that where you can take the fantastic
mm-hmm. and put it into the ordinary.
And exactly. And pair it with, the fantastical chocolate with the ordinary peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of my favorite things.
Yes.
It's absolute all-time favorite.
Well, then you're going to love this book.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Okay, so let's get into our triple T's, starting with our triggers. We have mentions of violent attacks and threats to personal safety, reference to virginity as value. That's my own personal trigger. Reference to the virginity of one of the main characters as having some kind of value.
Mm-hmm.
Reference, demons, monsters, and creepy coworkers, and corporate drudgery.
That's for me.
Yeah. Our tropes, this is an MF romance, monster and human, office romance, boss and employee, virgin main character, and size difference. And for our titillations this week, we have unique anatomy, anal play, and double penetration.
Usually when unique anatomy and anal come up together, I'm always concerned for whoever's anus
is getting uniqued. Well, this week I guess you should be concerned for our FMC. Her name is Lily.
Wow. Great transition.
Thank you. So Lily is a 20-something. She has long dark hair. She is petite and pale. She is very competent and practical, and she works for an evil corporation. No, really.
I was gonna say, I'll be the judge of that as the former employee of an actual evil corporation.
So this corporation is not named until book 2, but is called Evil Inc.
No, it's literally.
So after the vortex opened in the crust of the earth and hell spilled forth to raise the dominion of man, the Dark Overlord took over the organization and became CEO. The goal is now the expansion of the evil empire, but the work is largely the same. So that is the conceit of this book, and why I think Kate Pryor is brilliant, because we are already in it. We get very little information, and it's just sort of drip fed to us throughout the course of the book. We're in it. This is now hell on earth. We are in the apocalypse. Life carries on. You still got to go to work. But the benefit package is better now.
The literal gates of hell opened up. Mm-hmm. They came up and were like, okay, we're going to dominate you. Mm-hmm. But even though we're going to dominate you, even we acknowledge that the benefits here sucked.
No, seriously, like one of the things she says in her mind as she's like thinking about her job is how much better everything is run now. Because people aren't in charge of it anymore.
Yeah.
That everything runs so much smoother. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I would like to preemptively give Kate Pryor props for that, because I love it's very similar to the Cinema Sticks video I showed you about the storytelling in the movie Constantine. Mm-hmm. They just accept that there are things that we don't know.
Yep.
There are so many relationships. They said it was the sequel to the Constantine movie you never saw, kind of thing. Kate trusts her audience to just go with it.
Yep.
And I think that is awesome.
It's brilliant.
I love when writers trust that.
Absolutely. So to paraphrase our FMC, there is a lot of upward mobility during an economic and social collapse. So like the turnover rate is really high, and a lot of people get sacrificed for poor performance, and like with the pentagram and everything, like it's a big deal. But Lily, she stepped up to the challenge, and she got pulled right out of that virgin sacrifice line. And now she's not working in customer service anymore. She is an executive assistant.
Now, if there were actual virgin sacrifices, I would grab the first person I could find.
Right.
The first warm body.
Exactly.
First warm consenting body.
Mm-hmm. We got to do this now.
Yeah.
I can't be this. Anyway, so she has worked her ass off. She has tried so hard, and she has taken every opportunity that she can. Her boss doesn't even threaten to kill her every day anymore. She is doing so well. As I put in my notes, gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. She is winning. Lily's doing great. So anyway, we open on Lily, and she is currently hating her life in this moment because she's a temporary cubicle in the accounting department, and she hates it because like the open office chatter and noise is slowly killing her. She is used to sitting in like the atrium in front of the executive suite, which is called the sanctum now, because the Dark Lord has a sanctum. The CEO has a suite. She's used to that, but last week an assassin managed to get in, and when the Dark Lord defeated it, it exploded her desk. So she has to be temporarily moved, which is what she's doing now.
Hate when a thwarted assassination attempt results in my desk exploding.
Exactly. Like that is the thing that is the most upsetting about all of it. Is just like, I want my desk back.
Oh, I can fucking relate.
Understand. Yeah. Yes. When I worked at Diplomat with you, and I was in a cubicle on the other side of the building in the middle of nowhere. My cubicle was 3 times as big as everyone else's. It was completely walled off. I was so comfortable and happy. It was so quiet. And then they were like, you have to move to the zip cubicles in the middle of, I
hated those things.
I quit.
I
actually did leave shortly after because I had a high-risk pregnancy, and they just couldn't give me all of the necessary PTO to both see my doctor and then have the baby. So, I had to leave. So she is broken from her musings about her job by the boss coming in to talk to her. The entire room goes quiet. Hushed, because Lily is the executive assistant to the Dark Lord himself. He is a lich. He appears in the office as a spectral sort of floating cloak with a dark well of infinite void where a face should be that somehow still manages to stare at you.
Yeah.
And he's come over here to get his messages. And she's like, you know what? This is awkward when everyone's looking at you. So let's go back to your office and we will do it there. So she follows him back to his sanctum. His grand sanctum is where a lot of this book takes place. And it's a super cool sounding space. It's a necromancer's workspace. It's the size of a ballroom. It's shelves and knickknacks and spells and potions and fuckery and scrolls and all kinds of shit. There's stained glass windows and like a ritual space and a sacrificial altar, and it sounds awesome. So she starts going over his daily agenda once they get in there, but she can tell that he is distracted. So when she says like one more really silly thing that definitely doesn't get his attention, she's like, okay, Sovin. She says his name. His name is Sovin. She only ever calls him that in private.
Okay.
That's what gets his attention. She doesn't normally call him anything but my lord or sir, but she is concerned about him. He is very distracted. She is intrigued by him in a way that the other people in the office aren't. Like, she doesn't feel that sort of like spark of mortal dread whenever he's around. The fear for her very soul just doesn't seep into her bones the way it does with other people. She kind of likes him, and she is pretty sure that like the dark and ominous front that he puts on is just that. It is a front because he's incredibly socially awkward. So instead he just acts creepy and he doesn't have to talk to anyone.
Can relate. So she asks if the reason he's upset is because of the assassination attempt, and he says yes, but it's not for the reason she thinks. Like, she's like, oh, it's because it caused a disruption in the day and it's kind of annoying to clean up, etc. And he says, no, it's because the assassin managed to get inside because they were a third-party hire from a firm that they use when he needs outsourced ingredients for spells. And now that he can't trust that firm anymore, he doesn't know where he's going to get these ingredients. I love that detail.
I know, right? And she's like, oh, well, let me get the requisition forms and we'll figure out what it is that we need. We can get you whatever you need. And he says there are certain things that you can't get like out of a catalog. It's not, not everything is like orphan tears. Some of it is like a shiver or a laugh or the essence of a first kiss. Not all of these things are things that you can get in a vial. And what he needed from this person was a shiver. And she's like, well, if that's all you need, I can provide a human shiver to you. It's fine. Like, I'll just do that. I am your assistant. So sure, let's do this. He is hesitant, but he needs the spell to be able to protect his sanctum so that he doesn't get attacked again. So he's like, okay, yeah, let's do this. She goes over to the ritual altar, lays herself down. There's not at all a bunch of subtext. She isn't feeling like anticipation. Her nipples aren't getting hard. No, none of this. She's not. No, none of that. She's not feeling any of that. And then he very slowly sort of runs a finger down her cheek and down her neck. And the shiver, of course, makes itself all the way down to her pussy. And naturally. And we just ignore all of that. All he needed was the shiver. She's just, we're just ignoring all of these other. We did what we needed to do, and I am done now. And she's like, bye, have a good day. The spell is complete. She can feel the magic take hold. Then on the way out the door, she has no idea why she says it, but she does turn around to him and say, like, oh, by the way, I've never been kissed before either.
If you ever need one of those,
just in case you ever need one of those. So like the next day, the next morning she spends contemplating how much better the company is now that the evil dominion is in control of it, and whether or not there is ethical consumption under the said dominion when it comes to whether or not you need to get organic orphan tears for your boss's coffee order. That was a really funny conversation that she had with her friend Janice, who works in HR. I was delighted.
It sounds delightful.
It is very delightful. So she gets Sovin's order, which is decaf tea with orphan tears, and she takes it to his office, but she is late in delivering it, so she doesn't knock the way she normally does. She just barges in, and she is coming in just as he takes his cloak off. So she kind of assumed that there was nothing under there except maybe bones or something.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what this is.
No. So the cloak is like Time Lord technology, because what comes out of it is significantly larger than the cloak itself, is basically described sort of like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, but with 2 sets of large horns, and his mane sort of tapers off into a more leathery torso with abs. And she continues to look down to see the weirdest set of genitalia she has ever seen in her life, ever. And she doesn't really know what to do with that information. She doesn't give us any of that information either at the time. She just sort of squeaks an apology out and puts the tea down on the table and leaves. And the first thing she's like, do I need to go to HR? I just saw my boss's dick. Do I need to go to do I need to go to HR? And eventually she decides, no, I'm not doing that. She goes back to her desk and she just throws herself into her paperwork until she is fully buried and can't think about it anymore. At the end of the day, she has a very quick chat with a coworker named Randall, and then she goes back to Sovin's office to see if he needs anything before she leaves for the day. So she is mortified by the prospect of having already seen her boss's dick, but she doesn't want to lose her job. And so she walks in there with her head held up high and she makes eye contact with him. And I respect her so much for that. I would have left the county.
Same.
Who cares if it's a good job? Who cares if the benefits are good? No fucking way I'm staying there. But she did it. So she speaks to him briefly and then asks if there is anything special that he needs for his rituals today. And at first he dismisses her, but then he says, you know what, I could track down the assassin ring if I had that essence of a first kiss we were talking about before. And she's like, well, I did say I'd never done that before. So he takes his cloak off again to reveal his full physical body. But from now on,
does he at least have lips?
He does have lips.
Okay.
I think. Yes,
well, he can kiss.
Because he kisses. He like his face is described as sort of lion-like. I just pictured the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that's fair.
From now on, whenever they're together in his office, he will always be uncloaked, but he does wear like a loincloth.
Oh, thank God for that.
Whenever she's around from now on. So he does that. She is freaking out as he's getting himself ready. She's psyching herself up. And then eventually he turns around and she just sort of jumps on him, like, rip the Band-Aid off. We're just doing this. And the kiss is fire. Like, it is very good. Like, it is not a sweet and innocent first peck. She threw herself at this guy. There is lip biting and tongue sucking and moaning and groaning, and like she climbs his body. He holds on to her. It's fantastic. And then his mouth leaves hers and he starts to bite down her neck, and she gasps, and that sort of breaks him out of it, and they separate. And she's sort of breathily like, will that be all? Do you need anything else? And he just sort of goes, the ritual circle's over there.
Oh, no. Oh, that's terrible.
So terrible. She's so embarrassed. And she just leaves, and she feels awful because she botched it. Like, she feels so bad. The next day, when she gets to work, there is a truly massive bouquet of flowers on her desk from Sovin with a card that says, for your efforts.
I was going to say, what do you get for the employee who tried to give you the essence of a first kiss?
Socially awkward motherfucker. Like, so that is exactly how she takes it. She takes it as thanks for trying. Thanks for giving me that, even though it was useless. She has another conversation with accountant Randall, who asks her if she's ever thought about staying in this department, because it's just so nice to have her around. You know, it's been nice to see her instead of just like waving when you walk by the office. But she's absolutely not going to change positions. She loves her job and she's very good at it. She is then sent an assistant by the Dark Lord, an intern, to help her with her workload. And she is like, what do you mean? What do you mean I need help with my workload? Do you think I need a little helper now? Like, I fucked up one kiss and now I need a helper all the time? Fuck you. And she spends the morning working and stewing like that, because she has all of these like messed up and complicated feelings for her boss, who is not a human. And she's all eager and butterflies, and she's feeling like jealous because he is going to have to outsource another kiss now, and maybe even future kisses. Are you serious? No, that is the worst thought on the planet. And isn't, like, first of all, like, the flowers were sweet and all, but who ordered those? Because she is his executive assistant. Does he have another executive assistant? Did somebody else order these flowers? Is she, God forbid, he got a new executive assistant, or like she is the assistant to the actual executive assistant? Like, she is losing her mind for no reason. I do not. Anyway, so middle of the day, she goes to deliver his tea, and he is deeply appreciative and very warm and kind to her, and all of her anxiety and anger just melts away immediately. She is left mostly in the wake of it. There's just like horny. That's all that's left. Yeah. She asks then if there is any other act of vulnerability which she could provide instead to fix her mistake from the night before. And he tells her that he cannot ask anything more of her, which is his very specific way of saying, I am the boss and the evil overlord. If I tell you to do anything, you will do it. All of these decisions have to be and must be yours. Mm-hmm. So she says, I always fix my mistakes, and I'm going to do that now. So he goes from like guarded to intrigued, lights up the ritual circle, maybe with some like, but it's over here, some batons. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
I love your enthusiasm.
Yes.
Need you to take about 20% off.
Exactly. As she goes over to the ritual circle, she strips for him. She climbs up on the altar and she starts jilling it for him and telling him everything that she wants from him, which is most ultimately, she wants him to need her. She wants to be needed and to be wanted. And if being used as an ingredient in a spell is what's going to get that for her, then that's what she's willing to do.
It's wild.
I know. It's maybe not healthy, but also the world ended.
Yeah.
We got other problems.
Yeah.
It's fine.
This is a whole new paradigm.
It's whatever. You know what? I bet you that the benefits cover therapy.
I should hope so.
Great benefit package.
Mental health coverage, 100%.
Yes. So she's jilling it and telling him all about this, and he pulls the magic that he needs from this vulnerability is what that he is using. This is the magic, and it's over. The spell is complete. But then he pulls his loincloth to the side and says, I shall, because the phrasing of it was like, use me to whatever end you want. And he says, I shall. My own notes, it just says she takes the executive assistant role serious.
I was going to say, take that, James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal in the excellent film Secretary.
This is the opposite of quiet quitting, is what this is.
Yeah, no shit. It's going to be very loud, I'm guessing. Some very loud, not at all quitting.
I have a parenthetical in my notes that says, pause to shout out Kate for her use of the word cunt. Cunt is a legitimate and honestly preferable word for your lady bits, damn it. Use it.
Yep.
So there we go. Thanks, Kate, for that. Then we have a second pause for weird dicks. So here's Sovin's dick situation.
What's the dick sitch?
Yeah, the dick sitch. He has 3.
Oh, God.
Stacked vertically atop each other. And when you think about it,
I mean, I am.
They are all designed for a specific function, and they work appropriately for it. So the central cock is the most human-shaped, but it's more rounded and it's ridged. I read it like one of those like glass dildos with the round head.
Okay. Yeah.
The one above it is described in the book as a ... something. A something. Mm. And that's about all I can think to say. So ultimately what it is it's for clitoral stimulation. It has a puckered shape at the tip of it, which seems to have some sort of sucking function, and it's sort of it's more lubricated. It is for clitoral stimulation.
That's literally all it's for.
Yep. And the bottom one is a thinner and shorter version of the main one. It's for anal. And we appreciate that it is both thinner and shorter.
Yes.
Thanks for that, Sovin, or whoever. Kate, I guess.
Yeah. Quick aside, you can absolutely believe that if I were Sovin, or if I had 3 penises, I would call them Larry, Moe, and Curly.
Oh, that's cute.
I would absolutely do that.
That's really cute. No, I can't think of the Three Musketeers. And D'Artagnan's or Balzac.
Play with my D'Artagnans.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so the first thing he does is eat her out for all that he is worth, obviously. So we take full advantage of the horn situation and the mane. So there's a lot of like moving his head around to get exactly what you want out of the situation. At one point she squirts and he just keeps on going. He's just fine with it. No, he does not pull away. He doesn't even need to breathe. He's so who cares?
He's the Dark Lord.
He's the Dark Lord.
I think he can handle a little bit of whatever squirt is.
Yeah, exactly. So that scene, fantastic, absolute chef's kiss, and then he fucks her. So for this time, we just use the top two penises. So the main one is big, but it is like proportionally big to the size of the dude, who is like the beast. Like he's a big guy, but it's not like magic.
We're not casting magic to rearrange her inside.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're not. We just need decent preparation and a little patience, and eventually we get there. The other one, like I said, it got some suction action for clitoral stimulation. She is having an absolutely incredible time. Like at some point, like she says the first orgasm happens, and then the second orgasm happens, and it's like the first one never even happened. And been there. That shit will like it wipes your brain. You have amnesia for a minute. It's fantastic. So they finish. It is wonderful. And then they lay there for a while and she's on his chest and sort of listening to his breathing. And then she realizes that he doesn't have a heartbeat. So she asks about that. And he says that's because he doesn't have a heart.
Yeah. All right.
He has a reliquary, which I am familiar with because I know enough about Dungeons and Dragons, but a reliquary is just a jar or something that you keep the essence of your soul in. And in the case of a lich, all of their power is also in that reliquary. So usually what liches do is then they bury them deep down in dungeons under miles of traps and wards and monsters. And then raiding parties try and get them and roll D20s for it. Yeah. So he's telling her this and she's thinking that's kind of sad, like thinking of the idea of like Sovin's soul, like the essence of him is just like rotting away in some dusty old dungeon. She thinks that is like very lonely, but then she realizes that he is not a person and that his soul is in a jar in a dungeon because he is the Dark Lord, the great lich who brought forth the evil reign, and she's his secretary. So she sort of climbs off of him, puts her clothes on, and goes back to work because that was about noon. That was the middle of the workday.
Oof.
Yeah. She had to go back to work.
Working lunch, as we like to call those.
Right. So
she didn't even get a chance to eat, but she did get stuffed.
Yeah. So Lily makes an awful lot of like emotional assumptions throughout the course of this book, but I do forgive her for that because Sovin is the Dark Lord who raised the evil empire and et cetera, et cetera. Like she is assuming that he doesn't love her. Fair. I think that's fair. In this case, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
So she spends the whole like next day going down this like huge emotional spiral in her head while maintaining her professionalism with Sovin. But she has fully convinced herself at this point that all of the feelings that she has developed are insane and one-sided. Janice from HR has also put the thought in her head of like the weirdos who fall at the feet of the Dark Lord and give themselves to him and like they're so freaky and like, oh God, am I one of them? She's having a lot of feelings. Then while she is moving all of her things into her newly completed office, because all the renovations are done. Sovin manages to actually catch up to her and talk to her after a day or so of avoiding him or only talking about the most important things they had to talk about. And he manages to charm her into lowering her walls with what is truly one of the cutest scenes I have ever read. I'm not going to tell you about it. Go read it. It's so cute. It's the water cooler scene. He is his own goofy self. They talk, and then they go, I think, back into the sanctum and actually have like more conversation. And she asks him how he got into being a lich, basically. Like, and he doesn't really answer, but ultimately what he says is like, the point of being a lich is being so acquisitive that you cannot stop collecting until you crave collecting life itself, the source of life itself. But that becomes incredibly lonely. So in the process of becoming the Dark Lord, he's lonely now. Oh no.
It started with comic books.
How sad.
It ended with life itself.
I mean,
I am on a slippery slope to lichdom.
I love Sovin. He is so sweet and so lovely. But at the same time, every single time he's like, I'm lonely and sad, I'm like, oh, big sad CEO lonely, because that's like what he is. I can't take him seriously. But I do the same thing with billionaire romances. I'm like, oh, big sad billionaire doesn't want to be alone anymore.
Quick, let me fire up the gif of Woody Harrelson from Zombieland dabbing his tears with money.
Seriously, I'm sorry for all those incredibly plosive bees that just happened right into the microphone.
Yeah, the windscreens had no chance.
I'm so sorry about that.
That's all right. Maybe I can soften them up in post.
So anyway, they have this conversation, and then he says that he has a gift for her, and she's excited because she thinks that she's going to get a token, something that proves that her feelings aren't one-sided. And he presents her with her 5-year hiring anniversary gift, which is a tasteful gold necklace with a little pendant with the evil rain insignia on one side and like a red jewel on the other. And he's like very pleased and proud of himself to be giving her a present, and she tries her best to be gracious and like grateful, but she's not that happy about it. She does wear it to work the next day, though, which great, very nice.
It beats like when companies try to whip out a challenge coin.
Oh my God!
Gah.
Seriously.
For those of you who don't know, challenge coins are things that they have in the military. They sometimes go by different names, but anyway, they're just like little commemorative coins that you swap with people, or get them for doing little above and beyond things. But sometimes companies like to, take a little bit of that military with them and do challenge coins. My old VP at Diplomat came by it honest. He was a colonel or lieutenant colonel in the Marines, so he kind of came by it honest. But the one I got from my current company, I don't know why.
Go throw it in the river. It's fine.
Challenge you to skip that across the river. Anyway.
So the next morning, she does wear it to work. She goes about her morning. She gets herself settled in, and then eventually he calls her into his office, into the sanctum, where she finds him sitting naked on his throne, waiting for her to come and pop herself up in his lap, which she does. But she's just like, oh, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be going now. She just goes and sits in her naked boss's lap. And first thing she does is ask, hey, what's with the office renovation? I used to have a window. I want my window back. She's feeling very isolated now because she can't see anybody. She's just sort of in a box. He doesn't really answer her. Instead, he tells her that he has something new for her to do today. And she's totally down for it. She's like, yes, absolutely. And he presses a very tasteful silver butt plug into her ass.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he says that she can go.
Oh.
You're good to go.
Okay. That beats the hell out of a challenge coin. That would be great.
The challenge coin is the base.
Yeah. Everybody who's been there for 5 years knows what you get, but they never tell anybody else.
It's a surprise.
Stick around. You're going to want to stick around for 5 years. Trust me. You're going to want to stick around. You laugh at that challenge coin. That's just part of it. Wait till you get the rest of it.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Oh my God. So he tells her that she is free to go. And he says, this is preparation. And she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got it, boss.
For what? I wonder.
Right. And then as she leaves, she can feel it like moving
Oh, no.
I think she says expanding. I don't know if it grows, but it is magic.
So it is not a good Christian butt plug.
No, it's even worse because it's doesn't have a motor. It is run by necromantic magic.
Oh.
It is Satan's own butt plug. We have to create a line of stickers.
No, I think we just need to create a line of butt plugs.
The good Christian butt plug.
But we will partner with the authors whose books inspired them. We'll have a signature line. Kate Pryor, call us.
Okay, so she leaves. And she goes to sit down in her chair, and she leaves the door open, the door to the sanctum ajar. So they're just sort of like sneaking little glances at each other all day, and every once in a while it sort of wiggles, and it's a whole. Honestly, it's weirdly adorable for being about a butt plug.
Hold on, we're cold open right there. Okay.
So. She is going to have this in all day, and every once in a while she feels it grow and tingle and whatever, and it's so cute. That afternoon is a company-wide meeting, which Sovin is running, so they can't skip it. And she is helping him with his presentation. When he asks her to go to the records room and get some numbers from the previous year to compare for something that they're talking about, business related, completely unrelated to the butt plug. And while she's in the records room, she catches her eye on the shelf of like surplus ritual ingredients that she knows Sovin keeps up there for stuff. And she sees a new bottle that she's never seen before, labeled Lily Shiver. And she reads this to mean that he didn't even use the shiver that they made together. He just put it in the dusty storage shelf. Their relationship means nothing to him. She leaves that storage room with the paperwork that she needs, but she is like devastated.
But not devastated enough to remove the butt plug.
I know. But she's crying. Like, she's crying in the hallways.
With a butt plug.
I know. But she's crying because Sovin didn't use her shiver. And she runs into Randall in the hall. And Randall says that he left the meeting probably specifically to find her. And he asks her out for coffee. And she's feeling very like, woe is me and whatever. So she says yes. And as soon as he says, great, it's a date, a crack opens up in the floor beneath them. She jumps back. Sovin is suddenly in the hallway, and he magically pushes Randall into the pits of hell and shuts the crack behind him.
And she witnesses all of this with a butt plug in her ass.
I swear to Christ, my guy. So meeting over, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
She's like, he goes to the sanctum, and she is storming after him. She's like, you can't just do this to people. Well, yes, you can. I'm sure it's probably even covered in the handbook or something. The boss reserves the right to send you to hell at any time for any reason. But
he signed an NBA, a non-blasphemy agreement.
An NBA. Nice one.
Thank you.
So they go into the sanctum and they have a proper fucking fight. And her argument is basically, you can't just take away my agency in things and kill coworkers because they ask me on dates. And she has a bunch of other there's a list of complaints that she has, and he throws back his own retaliations. They have a whole fight about it. Ultimately, what ends up happening is she climbs up on the table to stand on the table to yell at him in his face because she's too short otherwise. Mm-hmm. And when that's all said and done, she leaves the room, goes down to talk to Janice from HR. And they go to a conference room to have a chat. But that chat basically amounts to, what do you want me to do about it? You fucked your boss and your boss is a lich. Like, yeah. I can't. thanks for reporting it to HR, but there's nothing I can do for you here. So she goes back to her office with a cardboard box because she assumes that she is going to be fired. So she's just going to get a jump start on packing up her desk. But Sovin is standing there waiting for her in his furry form with his loincloth on. And he hands her 2 vials. One of them is the vial with her shiver in it, and one of them is a vial that she has never seen before. And he says, I didn't use your shiver because I could not bear to part with any part of you. And then he hands her the other vial, and she realizes immediately that this is his reliquary, that she is holding the essence of his life in this tiny little glass vial. And he says that I cannot give you my heart, but I can give you this. And I hope that you will keep it safe. He is now entrusting her, this little human woman, with the essence of everything that makes him the Dark Lord of all.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll keep it safe forever. It's very sweet. It's a very sweet moment. I enjoyed it very much, but also I was like, that's impractical.
But what he didn't tell you is that when you take the butt plug out and you can open it up and put it in there, that's how you keep it safe.
Smart.
Yeah.
It's just rattling around in there.
No, I mean it's fitted.
Oh, okay, it's fitted.
There's like
there's like a little pillow pouch inside.
Yeah,
perfect. Okay, good to know.
Custom made.
He's
the Dark Lord.
Turn it. There's a little pneumatic like hissing sound.
Some LEDs. He's the Dark Lord. He can do whatever he wants, up to and including creating a special butt plug that is big enough to hold his soul to stick in Lily's butt. Kate, I'm really sorry what I've done to your book.
I would like to extend a formal apology to Kate.
I'm so sorry for what I've done to your book.
This beautiful moment ruined when Carl turned a butt plug into a safe.
I know that it's inappropriate to like punch up somebody's work, but it's probably worse to punch it down.
That's so much worse.
To just take it and reshape it into something
a monstrosity.
Where
who do you think you are, a McElroy brother?
I couldn't be so lucky.
Anyway, they have this very sweet and vulnerable and lovely scene, and then they fuck about it because of course they do. They have to. Reminder, though, we have not forgotten, this entire thing happened with the butt plug still in her.
That is
all of it.
The wildest thing.
The big emotional stuff, the crying.
Yep.
Butt plug.
I can't even I cannot function if my underwear are in my ass crack. And if this book and certain portions of Reddit have taught me anything, is that there are a lot of people out there who just walk around. This is I don't know if it's a kink or it's just a thing they're into, but apparently people just like to live their lives with plugs in their butt.
Yep.
I get an itch and I have to like bail and find a safe place to deal with it. Or like shimmy on the chair a certain way before I do anything. She was just living a life with
a full day at the office.
A whole ass day.
Whole day at work.
She watched Randall die.
Yeah. She did.
Randall's dead. Like, I don't know if
Oh no, I just had a And when the crack opened up in the earth and her asshole puckered, it was a whole new sensation.
Shot out. Ricochet took out Janice and HR.
Oh my god. So they have this excellent top-notch sex scene. Kate writes great sex scenes. So it's emotional and it is intimate, and they do it on Lily's desk, which in a way makes her extra happy because she is ensured that it could not possibly be a ritual thing. They're not even in the ritual space. Ultimately, this does culminate in double penetration, multiple orgasms, fantastic. The book fades before they're even finished. And that is the end of the book. Though we do have an epilogue ? We get one chapter. It's very short, and it is from the perspective of Janice talking to Lily, and Lily is like girl talk, giving a detailed description of her sex life with Sovin, and Janice just has to be like, I beg you, just document it all, but don't tell me. I don't need to know what my boss's dicks look like. Yes, plural. I know you've said it. Yeah, no, I heard you. You don't need to keep talking about it.
Is there a more technical term for a butt plug?
Could we?
No. Anal trainer?
Anything else? Truly anything. But Lily just keeps going like she hasn't fucking heard her. So she just keeps talking, and Janet in her head, she's just all she can think is, well, I hope this goes well for you, because dating your coworkers is the dumbest fucking thing that you can possibly do.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the book. And then we roll right into one sample chapter of book 2, which is called The Orc from the Office, which is Janice's book.
Oh. How perfect.
So perf. And there you go. That was Love Laugh Lich, my guy.
That was so much fun.
I know. You see why? You see why this book caused a whole journey for me?
Yeah.
Brought us to this place right here.
Yeah.
In many ways, Love Laugh Lich is the reason why you're here right now.
Yeah. No, I have nothing. That was as fun and as just awesome as I hoped it would be.
Yes. It's ridiculous and hilarious, and I loved it. It was my first introduction to the monster peen, to a multi-peened entity, I think, to the modern monster fucker genre as it is today. I just love it. Oh, it's so good. And then there's 2 more, because I've only read the second one. I read The Orc from the Office. I have not read the third one yet, but I will at some point.
Well, now that you've told us what got you into monster fucker books, what are you into right now?
Oh, I'm so very glad you asked. So I am into friendship with the SpongeBob rainbow hands. So we are in the summer of friendship, and we have been enjoying the summer of friendship so much because we have built this fantastic community of people. But one of the people who is the most special to me, one of the first people I made friends with as part of this Cheap Smut venture, is Gwendolyn Harper, and I am going to see her. I am getting on a plane in like 3 weeks, and I'm really excited. That is what I am into this week.
Yeah, not even like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That is what I am into. I am into making it happen and going to see my friend.
And I was so excited. Luckily, flights from where we are to where she is are not super expensive, but I have, because of all my work travel, I have enough airline miles booked up with my preferred airline, shout out to Delta, that the only money that we're putting out for this is for you to ride a shuttle bus down to the airport and back from the from East Lansing down to Detroit and back.
Yep.
I'm so excited.
Fees and taxes for the plane ticket.
Exactly. So it cost $11.20 for the fees and all that. So I'm laying out $70, which is awesome. I'm so excited, and I'm so excited for you because you. I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of fun out there. But
yes,
you are going to do something that is so cool while you're out there.
I know. I'm going to be on somebody else's podcast.
Yes, you are going to record an episode of the In Our Ears podcast with Lauren and Dee.
Yes.
Lauren being the is that
Lauren's real name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gwendolyn Harper, Lauren Devora.
Lauren Devora. So I am so excited for you to do that. Plus, I lived in Boston many, many years ago.
Yeah. And we're not going to be in Boston, but we're not going to be that far from it. So
yeah. So you'll be near Boston. So if you have the chance and you're like, hey, what are some things? Yeah, you can go see where I lived or something. I think it's probably the only thing that's left that would have been around when I was there 27 years ago.
So anyway, yes, that is what I am into. I am into friendship and going to see my friend. What about you, baby? What are you into?
I am into the movie that I saw today, which was Deadpool and Wolverine. It was the smartest move that Marvel, Disney, Kevin Feige, whoever you want to give credit to, was to just let this character exist in their world as he is. And it was a god damn blast. I can't say enough good things about it. And I've already said a lot of it because Kate did not go with me.
No, I did not.
We're going to go see it again next week. I set up the trip for you to go see Gwendolyn, and in exchange, I got to go see a movie by myself, which was a perfectly fair thing to do because this movie was so fucking good. Tons of fan service, which, as a side note, I'm going to get out my portable soapbox. I really hate it when people complain about movies or things that have fan service in them because that is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Yeah, man, they tried really hard to give the fans what they would have liked.
Yeah.
Real fucking assholes.
Yep.
Real fucking assholes for doing that, guys. So it is easily the best of the three Deadpool movies, and that's saying a lot because I think those are three of the best comic book, property films out there. I'm currently suffering from Marvel fatigue, but this movie got me very excited for everything that is coming next in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So if you haven't already, go see it. Even if you've only seen like the one of the two Deadpool movies, it stands alone. There's great chemistry. It has an emotional core like the first two movies did, and they just dumped the fucking toy box. They dumped the fucking toy box out to the point where I told you earlier that there is a version of a character in this film that never actually got shot. But there was an actor who was attached to play this character for a decade almost, and it never happened. And they were like, fuck it, now we're doing it. So I give them all the credit in the world for doing that. Deadpool and Wolverine, as good as advertised, as good as I'd hoped. Go watch it.
Absolutely fantastic, my love. And I can't wait to go and watch it with you.
Yes, we're going to go next weekend. But speaking of next week, we are still rolling through the Summer of Friendship, but because we did not have a guest host this week, we have a guest host next week. And I am so excited to have this particular guest host on because she was the first person that openly and just unabashedly was like, I found a podcast called Cheap Smut, and it is fucking great, and I love it, and you should listen to it. And she has been nothing but kind and sweet and continuing to shower us with just so much energy and positive vibes. And we've become friends. Just, again, hence the Summer of Friendship. That is right. We are talking to Katie Hurd. She is on TikTok. If you're listening to the show, you probably know who Katie Hurd is. She is a signings sinfluencer. And she's just an absolute ray of sunshine who will be presenting a book to us next week.
Yes, she is. And I cannot wait to hear what it's going to be. I think I remember what she said the author is, and Katie likes to read the dark stuff. So, yay. Okay. But in the meantime,
you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Cheap Smut. If you would like to send us an email, go right ahead. cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. Down in the show notes is a link to our link tree. Click on it. The top link will take you to this book. Once the mainline episode has been released, I keep forgetting to say that. It is not an affiliate link. We do not get any money for this. We are just trying to help the authors out. If you would like to support us financially, you can do so on Patreon, like these fine folks have. Cassie, Cassandra, Brian S., April D. Berry, Leah Legend, Dana Goddard, Stephanie Hawkins, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O, and Rebecca K. The music that you hear in this and every episode is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of other songs free of charge for you to use at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
Listener, remember, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and exacerbate my bronchitis for your entertainment.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.